I'm going to show you how to get to the belt in a Luxman Suckface RX-103. Yep, so first thing you need to do is take out the screws on the left and the right side of the unit, and there's a couple along the back, just along the edge around the perimeter there. So take all those out and then we'll go from there. Once you've taken the top off, you can flip the unit upside down. Take out all the screws. This one's actually missing a screw. Someone's been in here before. Actually, I've been in here before, but yeah, it was missing the first time I got it. Undo all the screws around the, even these big ones here. Keep note of where they go. If you need to take a photo or mark down on a piece of paper where the screws go, just so, because they're all different. Well, the perimeter ones are the same, but the ones over here are slightly different. So you can do that. You can also take out the screws along the black plastic section. Okay, once you've got the bottom off, you can remove the two screws, one there and one there. And then that's all you need to do underneath. Then you can flip the unit back over. Once you flip the unit back over, the last two screws you need to remove to get the mechanism out, the sock face mechanism, is this one here and this one here. So this is the one with the grounding tab, and then that one right next to it. You can disconnect this connector here, and then this will come straight out. You've got to kind of finesse it a bit because the motor and the cogs and stuff, they'll want to catch on the you know, on the sub chassis. Yeah, so but it does come out. So yep, do that. Okay, that's how it looks with the faceplate off. That's the faceplate with the mechanism that controls the sock face plate. Yeah, so it just comes out. As I was saying, it is a bit of a pain to get it out. The wires from the motor will want to snag on the bottom edge of that, just above the controls there. So just be careful if you're pulling it out and it doesn't want to come out easily. Just check that those wires are not hooked around the metal section there. All right, and the next step is I'll show you how to take this, tear this piece down, so you can get to the belt, which is actually inside, just behind the motor there. It's actually in that little metal cast frame there, cast section. Cool. Okay, so what we need to do is remove the plastic, not plastic, maybe it is plastic. You need to remove this, the plate. So to do that, remove these screws here, 1, 2, and on the bottom side as well. 1, 2. So remove those, then this will come off. Okay, the faceplate is off. What I like to do is just put the screws back into the threaded sections, so I don't lose them. But that's the screws I just removed, and just put them back in place. What we need to do now is remove this section here. Just keep note that the circles line up like this, and that circle there is so you can get to the screw, but you don't actually need to remove that one. You only need to remove these 4 on the outside, so I'll do that. Okay, we got that piece off. It's just sitting there with the 4 screws. So what we need to do now is you need a screwdriver that will go into that section. So it needs to be quite a, I don't know if you can see, a pretty crappy light in here, but see that screw just there? You need a screwdriver that can go into there and undo that one. And also we want to undo, where is it? This one on the rear, just down from the motor. So the idea is we want to take this plate out, and to do that we remove this screw and the screw I mentioned before, just in there. So you remove those 2, and then yep, that will come out. So I'll show you that. Okay, I've removed those 2 screws. So yeah, what you need to do, just one thing to keep in mind, just note very carefully the you know, the orientation of this wheel, because it's important, because that it only spins one direction, which is anti-clockwise. So it spins that way. And this little section needs to be below this bar. Just pointing with my finger like an idiot. But this bar here, and then, you know, the almost looks like a snail shell. That section needs to be underneath when you're looking at it at this orientation with the circles down at the bottom. So yeah, when you take those two screws I was talking about before, what you can do is just kind of you'll see that there's these like locating pins that hold this this piece in place, but you can just kind of, if you gently pull on this and pull on this back section at the same time, you'll be able to prise that out. I can't do it with because I'm holding my camera, don't have a tripod, but yeah, we need to take that out. Just be very careful and keep note of that the snail shell wheel thing. Cool. Okay, the next step is to remove the snail shell looking piece, and to do that, but before we do that, it's very important, you need to remove this little black contact switch here. My phone won't focus. Need to remove this little piece here, and to do that, like, what you need to do is rotate this snail counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, until you can get access to that that screw there. If you don't remove that black piece, what will happen is, if you just try and remove the E-clip and pull this piece straight out, it pulls out this piece of like this is attached to the snail piece, and it will potentially damage this this little micro switch here with the copper leaf. So rotate it anti-clockwise until you can get access to that screw there, and then remove that first. And then what you do is remove the E-clip, and then this will come out, the snail piece will come out. So do that. Okay, that's the copper snail piece removed, or brass, or whatever it is. And where is it? That's the screw that was holding in that switch I was talking about, which is this piece here. Don't panic if this switch appears to break. You can actually put it back together. If this, what is it? It's like a C-shape copper leaf comes out. It does go back together. You need pretty good eyes to see how it goes back together, but it's kind of like, I don't know, if you've ever made a Kinder Surprise when you're a kid, you can put this thing back together. But yeah, it's what I did was, when I first disassembled this thing, was I tried to take this out. I didn't realize that it had this piece attached to it, and it more or less obliterated the switch, and the pieces went everywhere, and I thought it was broken, but I actually found it. It's the bottom piece comes apart, and the copper. So there's 3 pieces to this, and you can get it back together if you're if you've got the eyes for it. So anyway, that's that. The next step we're going to do is remove these 2 screws here. You don't need to remove the motor. You can leave that in place unless the motor's damaged. But yeah, we're going to remove that one there. Sorry, focus. That one there, and this one here. The 2 black ones. So do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this is basically the end. You're almost at the belt. So what we need to do now is lift this cast piece of metal, like the planetary gear housing. So this is probably the scariest part, because the gears in here are quite complex, as you'll see. I'm going to try to do this on video, but mine has been taken apart a couple of times because I've changed the belt in this thing once now. So what you need to do is, like, you lift this off, but what I'd recommend is, if you feel like it's all sort of coming apart, and the gears, these carbon colored gears, are coming out when you lift on this housing, just press something against that, you know, like if you've got a toothpick or something, just hold it in place, something to hold down on that center pin while you lift this out. Because if you lift this out and all these carbon gears come with it, it'll not be very fun to try and put it back together. And there's like lots of little tiny graphite washers and stuff in between these. So I'll lift mine out so you can see what it looks like. But you can see there's 3 stacks of gears there, and they all move around with each other. But yeah, that's the belt, as you can see. It's quite easy to replace once you're at this step. But yeah, like I said, just be careful when you're peeling stuff off here. These are all they're gonna want to come out. You can see that's one of them, and then there's another stack underneath. I am actually not sure if the alignment of these little gears has any importance, but when I put it back together, I didn't pay any special attention to that, and it worked fine. But yeah, I think mine actually has a problem because the motor keeps getting like seized up. I think the issue might not be the belts. In my case, it might be that the motor is too weak to power this thing. But yeah, I thought because I'm taking this thing apart anyway, I'd show how to get to the belt. Because the first time I replaced this, the first time I come into this, the belt was all perished. It was just bits of belt everywhere. But yeah, that's how you get into the Luxman Suckface belt. Yeah, and to put it back together, more or less just reverse the procedure, paying special care with the switch. The black piece needs to, it faces down, like on the snail, like the black piece is the section that makes contact with the metal, not the copper leaf, because when the wheel goes around, it actuates this switch, which I suppose stops the motor. Yeah, anyway guys, hope that was useful. Yeah, cheers.